Welcome to the Develop Yourself podcast, where we teach you everything you need to land your first job as a software developer by developing yourself, developing your skills, your habits, your network, and more. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Hayslip, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Peter Elbaum, and we are doing our monthly, it's supposed to be monthly check-in. It's more like every 6 weeks, check-in with one another, where we talk about our own learn-to-code journeys and what we're doing in our own careers. After all, this whole podcast is all about developing yourself, and we are continuing to try and develop ourselves as well. So here we are on how, well, more or less how Peter's doing the indie hacking thing and how I'm doing the entrepreneurship thing. And here we go. Well, how's your day going? How's your week going?
Mine's good. How's yours?
I don't want to say bad, but it's been a little nutty. We sold our house and closed on the sale of it this week.
Dude.
We also went under contract with a new house in Austin that's got like a 10-day close, which is nutty. And my wife's van just like died yesterday.
Wow.
So we were like looking for a new car. And she graduates with her master's degree on Friday. So it's like, and then there's Mother's Day. So we're just trying to figure all the things out. But
exciting. I didn't know you were moving to Austin.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know at all. It's good we do this podcast.
It's good we do the podcast. Yeah, that's crazy. Hold on, let me turn off my Slack. It's crazy you didn't know that we were moving to Austin.
No, I had no idea.
I'm really sorry.
That's okay. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're excited, but it stinks because it's crazy expensive to move to Austin.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy expensive to move anywhere right now, I guess.
It is. I know. Everyone was like, oh, sweet, but you got so much money for your house.
It's like, yeah, but I'm rolling it into another mortgage. So
yeah, like doesn't really, who does it matter to that they get a lot of money at their house right now? Like
probably just the bank.
Yeah, if you own more than one, I guess that's good.
Yeah.
But like, who does that? It would have been just as fine if nothing would appreciate it at all.
Right.
I would have been in like probably a better situation.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue with home ownership. Not to go down a rabbit hole, but it's like, yeah, like my equity's going up, but it's all on paper. Like I can't do anything with it unless I like get a cash out refinance, which I'm not going to do. So
yeah, because then you're gonna now owe that money back, and it's very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, let's do this. So the idea here, and this is only our second one to do, is just like catch up on what we're working on, right? Kind of. Right. I mean, we seem to be doing this podcast that's helping other people try and figure out their life, and we're pretending like we've figured it out for ourselves. You know, you on this self-employed indie hacking journey, and I'm kind of on the self-employed teaching people journey.
Right.
And so, yeah, let's start with you, man. What you mentioned to me something about starting some contract work. Give me the details on that. You're a couple months in, I guess. When did you officially leave your job again? Remind me of that date.
Yeah, so this is day 3 of contract work. So I started this week. It's May 5th as we record, just for the audience. It's a Thursday. Yes. I started, just supposed to start on a Monday, ended up starting on a Tuesday just because of onboarding stuff. But yeah, so I mean, I essentially took the first month really easy. So we recorded the last one of these on March 14th, or we released it. We probably recorded it a few days before that. And so basically, yeah, I left my job on February 11th. For the first month, basically 3 of those 4 weeks were traveling, being with family. And then I kind of wanted to just decompress. It'd been kind of a hard 3 years, not in a bad way, but just I was kind of tired from my most recent job and just needed to decompress a little bit. So I took a few online courses. One was just for fun, doing music production. One was doing copywriting, which was really cool. So trying to get better at marketing. But then around, I don't know, end of March is when a few different things happened. So I mentioned very briefly last time that I went to the ER. And so I don't know what the bills are going to end up being for that exactly, but I know that if I didn't have insurance, it'd be $6,500. Keep in mind, we were there for like 3 or 4 hours. And so that is significant, I think, for anybody. And I think it'll end up being a little bit less. But essentially what happened with that was I'd only had coverage for 6 days and I wasn't fully processed in my wife's insurance. So I'm on her insurance. And so basically they're like, hey, you're not covered. Here's this bill. So I'm still dealing with that. But basically I realized like, well, kind of no matter what happens here, this is going to be several $1,000s. I don't necessarily want that to come out of the money I've saved up to be self-employed. So probably start time to, really trying to find contract work like more intensely than I was. So that's kind of a very long-winded way of explaining. I had a few external factors for kind of lighting a fire under me. Another one was that I screwed up my withholding last year and my W-2 paycheck, and we had a $4,000 tax bill, which is like nothing to complain about. It's like completely my fault. But basically those two things hit at once. And so then I was like, yeah, it's probably time to start pounding the pavement a little bit. So I can explain a little bit about what that process was like and how I ended up getting this contract, if you think that'd be helpful.
Dude, I would love to hear that, but quick comment, taxes are a beast. Like, especially if you're self-employed, that's like one thing you got to look out for is like my taxes. And I'm not like, just to be clear, I'm not getting rich over here. My doing what I'm doing, but my taxes like end of year have fluctuated by like tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Depending on factors. And some of those factors aren't even like, if my business made money, but I didn't actually take that money as an LLC, it's like the IRS doesn't care.
Yeah,
you're still paying taxes on whatever your business made, and that can be. We did have a Health Confess one year where we were like, we can't pay our tax bill. Like I was so surprised by it that we had to like basically do this this payback plan to the IRS where they like charge us interest, like. I'm like, this is way cheaper than a credit card interest rate, but it's still, I felt I felt so silly not being able to see that coming. So
yeah, it's complicated. I got a new accountant, which I think I also mentioned in passing last time, which like nothing wrong with my previous accountant. The withholding was my fault, but I got someone actually in Durham because I wanted kind of a more of a personal relationship and someone that helped with like the LLC incorporation and stuff that's just kind of fully integrated. So I'm hopeful that hopefully I'll be able to be not paying a huge bill at the end of next year. So we'll see.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So you're trying to find contract work. What were the parameters around like what that looked like? What were you looking for? And you don't have to like go over, because I'm sure, this is not just your information, but their information too. You don't have to like talk about like what you're getting paid and all that, but what were you looking for and how'd you find it?
Yeah. So I started out very picky and then got a little bit more relaxed with it over time, just because I was not as successful as I thought I would be. Honestly, I thought it'd be a little bit easier. So basically what I wanted was about, 15 to 20 hours a week indefinitely, ideally like $100 an hour. And the market is hot right now, but it's not hot for that. It's hot for full-time equivalent W-2 employees for the most part, or if contract, then full-time contract. And so I found a few opportunities that fit those parameters. One was on this platform called A-Team, which if you're interested in is just a.team is the URL. And they have more kind of what I think the economy is going to evolve into, which is project-based work where you just apply on a per project basis and they're not necessarily expecting full-time. When the project's over, you're done. That to me is the most appealing setup, but I applied for a bunch of those and didn't get any. And I had one interview and they went with someone else, and not very technical. It was more conversational. But I just didn't want to kind of stay still hoping that one thing would come through, or that particular iteration. So the next thing I tried was, or concurrently with that, I tried LinkedIn. And so I flipped the open to work thing on LinkedIn, but I didn't put the little banner over my profile picture. And that was super annoying. I was displeased with the results because, I specifically said part-time contract. And most of the people that got in touch, it looked like they didn't even see that. I don't know what it looks like on the recruiter side, but it was mostly full-time equivalent, like W-2 work. And I was kind of like, that's like not what I'm trying to do. And the inbound was so overwhelming from that. And again, first world problems, right? Like in the first couple years of my career, I could not get recruiters to pay me the time of day at all. So I realized this is a a fortunate position to be in.
Yeah.
But it is very transactional, and kind of like how we tell students, like if you put effort into your job search, you're going to stand out just because most people put zero effort in. I got a lot of people putting zero effort in to understand me and what I was looking for. So that was a bit discouraging. And then, so I just got annoyed with that and turned it off. And then, kind of on a lark, I saw on LinkedIn on a lot of job postings that they were coming from this company called Dice, which I had never heard of before. But it's essentially a platform. It's like monster.com, but only for developer jobs. And so on a whim, I went there, uploaded a resume, filled out a profile. And the stuff I got from that was a lot higher quality. So majority contract work, majority types of things I was interested in, not the kind of 15 to 20 hour a week. That was pretty elusive, but contract work nonetheless. And so through there, basically like the day after I filled out my profile, a recruiter got in touch who ended up being the person who is the connection to the contract work that I ended up getting.
Oh, very cool. So you actually did manage to find something through one of these things that promises to find you something.
Right. And in general, the recruiters that got in touch through that, I mean, still very transactional, right? Still very, just trying to put a square peg in a round hole, even if it doesn't fit kind of deal, but a lot more contracts. So from that standpoint, I felt like it was encouraging just because I'm not really in a place where I want to make long-term commitments. And so I felt like, you know what, that's good enough. And I felt like the opportunities from that were really good, big name brands, which some people like, some people don't like, but it was just interesting so I interviewed with Best Buy. I interviewed with Lululemon.
Oh, wow.
Like pretty high quality stuff. I interviewed with Caterpillar Machinery. So really interesting brands and interesting experience all around.
That's really awesome. So these would be contract positions like with these big companies.
Yeah. And so varying from 3 months to 6 months to, in some cases, like contract to hire, in some cases, like longer term contracts. I saw like some 12-month contracts, which was too long for me. I was thinking that 6 would be kind of the max I would look at.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Did you end up are you able to share like any details around the time commitment that you committed to?
Yeah. So what I ended up taking was an opportunity with an NFT marketplace in California.
What?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that checked quite a few boxes for me. I wanted to try Web3. And so it has a Web3 element. I will say I'm not seeing a ton of it yet, but I think that's kind of more to come. It's on Flow, which is the network that NBA Top Shot was built on.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful for just more exposure there and hopefully gaining more Web3 skills. So that was a big kind of goal of the year. I ended up getting a 3-month contract, which is pretty awesome. I wasn't sure if they would go for that. And then they met my pay expectations. So all around, I felt like great fit. And, if things go well, I think I'll probably be happy to extend. They kind of want to build a team for the long term. But just for from my own integrity standpoint, I didn't want to make a long-term commitment if I felt like I couldn't keep it.
Sure.
So I was happy with the initial kind of 3-month contract.
That's really awesome. How many like hours a week do you have to spend, do you think, on?
Yeah, so it's full time,
Okay.
Which, from my standpoint was less than ideal, but I'm hopeful in the future for maybe a bit more flexibility, kind of just playing it by ear. But I figured if, nothing else, 3 months full time, like I can do that. And that'll kind of help out the financial piece and help me get some experience and, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Very cool, man. What like are you working on? Is it like front end stuff? I mean, I know Web3, but I'm doubting you're like, touching anything Solidity related or at this point, probably.
Yeah, not yet. I'm hopeful, but I decided to kind of slot in the front end just because I felt like I'd be able to ramp up the fastest there. So it's a Next.js app with Tailwind.
Cool.
And so they're building essentially a version 2 from an existing version 1. So there's some stuff that's not live in the world, but targeting a release later this year. And so I just jumped in on the front end and just trying to add value and get stuff done.
And very cool. Has it felt different, like working, knowing that you're a contractor versus knowing that you're full time? I mean, I guess like some of the things that I would imagine, I think we talked about this before, of like not wanting to hold a full-time job. Do you feel like even though you're technically full-time, do you still have those same benefits of, of not being full-time in some ways?
Yeah, have kind of been wrestling with this because in a way it's like, I quit my job. I was very big on not being an employee, and I'm essentially an employee right now. But even if it's just I think the mental shift is very powerful. So a lot of the things between them are the same. So like, I kind of feel like, well, I could leave at any time. You could leave a full-time job at any time technically, but I think there is kind of an element of full-time employment that I've been pondering, which I think is really interesting, where basically if you're a full-time employee, when you switch over to salaried, you get a manager, you get benefits. There's kind of this common understanding that the company is supposed to invest in you in some way, and that in return, you're supposed to kind of give your all for the company and have it be your main focus. And so from that standpoint, I feel more free as a contractor because it's like, let's just be honest about what this is. It's a value exchange. You're paying me to get stuff done and I'm getting stuff done, which is what a real, like, that's what any job is. That's what a full-time job is. But I think there's this kind of like romanticization around full-time employment where it's like, oh, look at what we're building, or look at our culture. And I think culture and all that stuff is important. But especially for me, having been in private companies where I wasn't getting a profit share or equity, it's like, I'm spending my life energy building something that I don't own. And eventually that became kind of intolerable for me. So at least now it's like, I'm trading my time for money, but it's way more money than I was making as a salaried employee, especially at an agency, because agencies bundle and sell labor, so they just can't pay as much. And so if nothing else, like 6 months on, 6 months off, full time, if that's all this ends up being, I feel like I'm pretty happy with that. I've gained a lot more time back, which is the ultimate goal. And so that's kind of how I'm thinking about it right now.
That's freaking awesome, man. That sounds so cool. And I'm super excited that you got to explore some new space too. You're getting paid well. It's just cool to see the not the gamble, because I think it was like you said, a small risk, but to see it kind of pay off in this way.
No, it's definitely a small win. I've talked a little bit in the past about Daniel Vassallo and kind of the small bets philosophy. Felt like this is a small bet. Unfortunately, like trading more time than I would like, but I think there's significant payoff as well, aside from just monetarily.
Yeah. And I love that you got that, because hearing from you talking about this idea that, you just don't have that much time with people and you spend most of your life working, and that I love that you first invested your time out of the gate, like in hanging out, being decompressing, those kinds of things. By the way, which copywriting course did you take?
Yeah. So it's called Copy That. It's from Sam Parr, who does My First Million. Which is my favorite podcast, Sold the Hustle. And it's essentially this idea where you copy great copywriting in order to learn the patterns, which he makes a good point. That's how you learn music. Like when you learn piano, it's not like, here, go write a song. It's like you play the classics. And
that's how you learn how to code too. Like, you start building stuff that people have built and you do it the way that's supposed to be done.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I've been, I think I was hustling this course that I took on LinkedIn, and I shared an affiliate link, which was cool. Like the first time I've ever done something like that. I got two people bought it.
Yeah.
It cost me like $100. But so I've been interested though in copywriting and learning about, I have this book, the Adweek Copywriting Handbook, which I have not read yet, but it's sitting over here just in case I do. So maybe I'll take that course.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Any other thoughts on the state of Peter and his indie hacking ways? I mean, like what? Yeah, I guess like that's probably the other question I would have is, what role does building a product or something have in your life right now? Like, or just kind of taking the back burner for a little bit to extend, I guess, some stability and those kinds of things.
Yeah, my hope is that it is a co-equal burner. Okay. The metaphor's breaking down, but so I have been confused for a really long time, just because I don't know if everyone experiences this, but my kind of mental block with indie hacking for a long time was like, I need to figure out the perfect idea, and then like, oh, what's the technology going to be? And, you know, you can get caught up on all these things instead of just doing something.
Yeah.
And I realized I was still doing that, even though I had all this time on my hands. And very long story short, I've decided I'm going to buy rather than build. And I'm focusing on content-based websites.
Awesome.
Yeah. So basically Flippa, if audience is familiar with that.
Yeah.
And decided I'm going to basically set aside probably like $10K to buy a website that I feel like is undervalued in some way and try and, you know, increase monetization or something like that. So I feel like that is kind of in my circle of competence. I just made a YouTube video about this that hasn't come out. Basically, like I was enticed by, I don't know if you've seen all these people that are like, oh, buy a boring business, like buy a laundromat, buy vending machines. Yeah. It's like very kind of hot right now. And there's a lot of appeal to it, but I kind of realized like, I don't know anything about physical businesses. I build websites for a living. I should probably try and stick in the tech domain. So that was one reason for that. Number two, kind of my main goal for the year is to learn SEO alongside Web3. Those are like the two main areas. And a lot of these sites rely on SEO for the income. So I figured like kind of get some skin in the game, learn by doing, which you and I are both big on. And I figured that's like a good way to kind of get in the real world. So basically I'm focusing on trying to acquire a content-based site that's probably monetized through ads or affiliate links right now.
Nice, man. I'm super curious to see what you end up with.
Yeah. I expect it'll be something very random.
Very random, very niche.
Yeah.
You know, dads who love to, I don't know. I can't think of anything goofy right now, but
yeah, there's silly stuff out there. Like I'm watching one listing on Flippa right now called Soundbar Blog right now. And it's just like all about those sound bars that you like put under your TV that kind of provide like surround sound.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. But I don't have a whole lot to update there. I also have a few ideas for like content-based sites that I'm thinking about just building myself, like probably on Webflow. But I don't have, you know, significant updates yet there. I'm hoping I'll have launched something by the next time we talk.
Man, I love that. I think, the flipping website is interesting. I had a friend of mine reach out to me a while back because he'd listened to this podcast and he was like convinced that this is what he should do with his life. But he didn't have like the relevant skills, you know, like if you've been building up this bank of sort of like content marketing knowledge anyway, and then you have the expertise of development. I think it is interesting because you talk about, you know, I've listened to not too much because I haven't actually invested in real estate, but I've listened to some of those real estate podcasts because eventually we want to buy like a vacation rental place that we could use on our own too.
Yeah.
And they always talk about how it's a great asset because you both get the cash flow, but then you also get the appreciation. And, you know, flipping a website is the kind of thing like you can immediately start cash flowing if it's already been monetized, but then you just invest, you know, your fixer-upper skills in being able to redo the floors and the cabinets and paint the cabinets, not get new ones, but just paint them. And then, you know, a few years down the road, if you needed to, you could hopefully sell it for more than you bought it for.
Right. Yeah, that's the idea. Kind of digital fixer-upper and realizing that I don't have any real-world skills in terms of physical doing things.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, you and your wife should start a show called Fixer Upper.
Yeah.
do some websites.
Flippa edition, yeah.
Yeah, Flippa edition. That's awesome, man. Well, we'll continue to look forward. It's been fun. I know this is the only second time we did this, but it's been fun to track your journey. I think your journey is much more interesting than mine, by the way, because you're like in the midst of it, you know?
Well, we'll see. I feel like you've got interesting updates, so maybe we should get to that.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, all of mine are mostly like personal. Like I said in the beginning, I feel like Brian and I, you know, I think I mentioned him before. He's been a guest on the podcast, Brian Schuster. We started kind of like casually working on this Web3 project, which, you know, to be quite honest, is I think right now it's easier for me than it is him because basically what I'm doing is just taking like the structure of Parsity because like that's the hardest part about running, not the hardest part, but one of the hardest parts about running like an online code school is just like how do you structure, and you just don't know like how to basically build a school until you've built a school.
Right.
So he's been like building curriculum. He's been full-time on it, which it's so funny. And I'm like so totally happy sharing all this, but he was originally working at IBM as like an engineering manager, and we started talking about doing this Web3 thing. I was like, yeah, it'd be fun. Like, let's just super Web3 it, where we're like asynchronous, remote, decentralized, like no meetings. Like I'm just in my spare time in the evenings, like kind of like hacking on it for fun kind of thing. And he's like, yeah, that's great. And then he quit his job at IBM, and I was like, oh, cool. That's awesome. I didn't know you're going to do that. That's great. And then he was saying that he's going to be working on Web3 stuff. And I thought, like, that's great. There's like so much stuff you can do in Web3. He had just, he helped build, there was this community called Web3. And it was Sahil Lavanga created this basically like online cohort for other people just like to learn Web3 together. And Brian ended up being like the main contributor, where he like built a lot of the curriculum and the videos, and was sort of like quote co-founded this thing with Sahil, which was cool. And so I just thought like Brian was gonna keep doing that kind of stuff. And then it was a few weeks later that I realized like, oh, you're full time on like our thing. He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, well, I'm like not. Is that okay? And so there's been like tension, not relational tension. Because like we're both like in 100% agreement on how it's going down, but there's been like this tension of like I am like ultra efficient. Like there's nothing, like I can't spend a moment of time on that isn't like, I think, moving the bottom line, moving the needle.
Right.
And for me, I think it's easier because I'm basically doing stuff that I just figured out how to do last year with Parsity. Simple stuff like how do you get an LLC going? How do you like what's your what's CMS you're going to use? Like how do you integrate ConvertKit and HubSpot, and like how do you build out your website to get contacts and all that kind of stuff? It's like I just kind of copy pasted that, whereas he's like deep into building curriculum. So that's been like one big thing, but I feel terrible because basically I think since February I've been kind of on a roller coaster with like personal stuff. Buying, selling houses, and we move in June.
Right.
Other than that, yeah, I guess like the other way to update myself in my life is to talk about like, I guess, behind the scenes of Parsity.
Yeah. Well, first, I have a lot of questions. So you mentioned last episode, and I knew this, you guys initially moved here for family. I'm curious what precipitated the move to Austin.
Yeah. Yep. We moved here for family. I think, to be like real blunt, in some ways, so my wife's mom passed away at the end of 2019. And then it was like a few months later, like COVID happened. And so I don't think we were really we'd always thought that Durham probably wasn't going to be like our long-term place.
Right.
I mean, but we didn't know what that timeline was. We didn't have a plan. We wanted to like really invest deep roots. We were actually thinking about at one point moving to Spain, and that was sort of going to be our plan. Is like, let's do 2 years in Spain because we can, and because we have some friends there, and it would just be really sweet. I think what the plan was for my wife to get a job teaching at an international school in Barcelona. She was doing her master's degree, so she did that. She graduates from that on this Friday, which is great. And because you have to have your master's to teach a lot of those international schools. But what we realized is her getting a teaching job in Spain is probably not going to be able to happen. So our options for our, one, for our kids' school was either to send them to an international school in Spain and pay for it, which is like $75,000 for a year for all of our kids, which I'm like not prepared for. College is a long way off, and I do not have money for their college. So there was that, or it was going to be putting them in the public schools where they would like basically have to just learn Spanish and Catalan like immediately, or like die, sink or swim. Which is cool because I think some of our friends did that, but they're like long term. Like they're going to be in Spain like a decade plus, and the first year is really hard for the kids, but then they're fluent and they integrate. But we're like, if we're just in beer for 2 years, this doesn't seem worth it. And so Sarah kind of, she could have gotten like a sort of tech kind of job, doing curriculum design, but she basically laid down the law and was like, hey, I've been wanting to go back to being a teacher for years now since we had kids. And so I really want to do that. And I think it started to sound really stressful for us to like plan 2 moves.
Right.
Cause whenever you got, our kids are, how old are my kids? 4, 6, and 3, almost 4, 6, and 8, almost 4, 6, and 8. You want to put down roots, they're already like depressed about moving to Austin as it is. And so we just said, let's settle, like, let's invest somewhere. In Austin, we lived there for a long time. We love it. We probably won't like reintegrate into like the life that we had before, cause it's all different. But if we needed to like grab dinner with someone that we've known for 10 years on a given night, we could do that.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's kind of going to be the same life that we have here, but just there. I mean, the world's remote, so post up in a WeWork and do my thing. The really cool thing is we got a house that we can walk to the elementary school.
Oh, great!
To.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Sarah is going to be a teacher there, so basically, she'll like all of our kids will be at the school my wife teaches at. So I think it's really sweet family time, and we want to invest like really well in the neighborhood. We found one that's got people who probably have kids, our kids' age, folks who, to be, I guess, quite frank, normal.
Yeah.
The neighborhood we lived in whenever we were in first married, like it's so crazy expensive now. Like even if we were somehow to be able to afford to move there, I feel like it wouldn't be normal people. Like,
yeah,
if that makes sense. Like I know that I'm like a young white male yuppie guy. Like I get that, but
like on another level, we're talking.
This should be like next level. Yeah.
Yeah.
I already have a hard time, like, not having, friends that are just like me. So that would be even more difficult. So yeah, man. That's the move to Austin. It's happening in June. So
it's exciting.
It's exciting. If you know anyone who wants to sell a used Honda Odyssey or Toyota Sienna that is well priced, I mean, just under 100,000 miles, not looking to spend a lot, hit me up.
That's good.
We're trying to find
Craigslist here. Yeah, right. We might have some listeners in Austin.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Cool. And then briefly on Devman, is the goal or the plan to just kind of keep doing what you've been doing just as you can and have Brian take the lead?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like obviously because of capacity, like Brian's sort of the man on that, and he's definitely like and this sounds weird to like talk about him. I don't know if he's listed or not, but he's insanely smart. Like it blows my freaking mind, like how quickly he's able to learn stuff and then how good of a teacher he is. Like I think you have that or you don't have it. Right. I've met a lot of people who are very experienced software engineers who like just cannot teach at all because they have no empathy for the new learner, or anything. And so he's been able to pick up like this stuff like mad. And I've never worked with someone who's like such an animal. Like,
yeah,
I'm fairly certain like what Brian does for fun is he learns how to build in Web3.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm like, look, man, you don't have to be working right now. Like he'll be on like Slack on a Saturday, like being like, yeah, just, I don't know, insert some like cliche Web3 thing here.
Just a DAO where they airdrop me a token.
Yes. Oh man. Yes. Liquidity pools, airdrops, like all those words come up from him all the time. Yeah. And I'm just like trying to keep up, like, so yeah, that's the plan is he'd be sort of the man in terms of like teaching and curriculum. And then, I would be like, in some ways, an internal consultant where it's like, hey, this is what you should do. This is how you write good curriculum. This is how you manage a school. Let's go. So like, for example, I got all like the LLC stuff all set up and all that kind of junk because I just did it last year.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Good stuff.
Yeah, man. And then quick update on Parsity. It's been going really well. We just launched our second cohort of, I guess we're in week 2 of Dev 30, which is awesome. We had over 200 people again sign up. This was our last free one. And no real strategy in starting to like charge people for it, this 30-day course. But mostly what I saw is 200 people sign up for it, like 20 finish it,
Yeah.
Sounds
about right for a free course.
Yeah, for a free course. That's why it's like, I'd rather have people who, and what I mean by that is like, I'm just kind of all over the place. I'm not really able to actually help people very much, which one, it's cool because a lot of times they help each other in Slack. But I'm like, I don't know who to invest in, because you're all kind of here and then you're gone. You're kind of in and out kind of thing.
Right.
So if people want to get value out of it, they can get it. But I'm hoping with the like doing it paid, and I've just said, hey, it's going to be $150, but it's $49 if you pay for the next one, which starts in July by the end of this month. And so I got a few people that signed up, which is cool. That was like actually the first time I've ever like sold a course that like wasn't, like Parsity, which is just extremely personal and hands-on. Like I got a ding that someone like bought the course. It's like, oh, that's cool. And then of course they'll be in Slack and we'll be able to invest in them and all that kind of stuff whenever the time comes. But it was just like a much, different quote sales cycle than like saying, hey, there's this thing that you can quit your job and like rebuild your life. Rebuild your life on kind of thing. So yeah, that was great. Cool. We started our next cohort a couple weeks ago. It was a smaller group, which I'm like, to be honest, I don't know why. We haven't had that before. I mean, I always remember that with our previous code school that like towards the end of the fall, folks didn't want to like switch careers then. But then our July cohort's coming up. It's like, I've already got a ton of deposits. Like it's blowing up. People are, I think, really engaging in Dev 30 from that crew. I think it's going to be a great one. And then we've got our first demo day coming up later this month for our recent cohort. So yeah, it's been good. I think a lot of the processes are coming into place you're part of Parsity, obviously. You're a huge part of Parsity. So I don't know why I'm updating you because you kind of already know these things. But
more for the audience.
Yeah, more for the audience, I guess. But yeah, it's been going well. Just trying to figure out like, it's just logistics that I'm like tired of doing, to be honest, like for example, like accounting type stuff,
right?
Figuring out my taxes, that kind of stuff is exhausting. I'm not good at it. So I feel like the more things you start and get involved in, you have a little bit more administrative overhead, which is a bummer.
Yeah, it's a pain.
But yeah, we'll see, man. I guess our next one will probably be, were we going to do these once a month or how often?
I think we said once a month. I'm guessing it's been about 5 or 6 weeks, which that's probably fine because if it's too frequent, then I won't have anything meaty to say.
Right.
Yeah. So
I'm kind of already getting there.
Well, I'm hopeful I'll have big things to say next time. And you will too. When are you moving? Before that?
Mid-June.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe.
Yeah, actually, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we do the same kind of cadence, I'll probably have just moved. So maybe I'll probably be in a cookie cutter WeWork.
That's okay.
Then, but all right, man. I think I'm good. I don't have anything else to say.
Cool. Yeah, I'm good for now. We will see everyone in the next one. Thanks for listening to us just talk about ourselves.
Good catching up. Yeah. All right, that does it for today's episode of the Develop Yourself podcast. Thanks again for listening to Peter and I talk about ourselves. If you want to find out more about Peter, a link to his YouTube channel and what he's doing as far as quitting his job and doing this sort of self-employed indie hacking life, he's documenting all that on YouTube. It's an awesome channel. You should definitely check it out. To learn more about my online code school, Parsity, go to parsity.io. It's Parsity.io. I also do a 30-day cohort-based JavaScript course. Our next one starts in July. So go to dev30.xyz. That's dev30.xyz. And we'll talk to you again next week.